Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video right now, PlayStation fans are very upset, and a lot of people are calling out right now of a pseudo boycott slash call out of PlayStation as a studio. Now, this is a bit of an intriguing story to go talk about, because as you guys probably know, there is a game that came out that did a little bit of like a big, I'd say marketing push called Stellar Blade. Now, the game itself so far has apparently had really good reviews, really good initial first day sales, and so far the game itself has had a really good reception for pretty much everyone out there. It's not the best game known to man, but for a third party, not like mainstay Sony or Xbox game, it's actually doing really well. But one thing that it has not been doing so well is the now big push on censorship, changing the actual game itself, and at the end of the day, people are very concerned about the fact of that they didn't really stick with their morals and change a lot of various things inside the game, including many of the outfits, and completely toned them down. Now, some folks are actually maybe assuming PlayStation had a big say in it. Some people are kind of calling out the company itself as a whole for mismarketing, and at the end of the day, people once again are upset about this game. Now, this has been a very polarizing game, where it seems like the core gameplay, core graphics, core everything does seem to be flowing really well. I do think most people have enjoyed it, and off my first impressions, I think it turns fantastic. I'm not the biggest person who kind of cares that much about outfits, or especially like, more out there outfits too as well. But I think a lot of this is kind of coming back down to the morals of the game, how the game is meant to be, and all of that. So let's go talk about this drama, because a lot of people are now starting, it seems like petitions over here to change it. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We got that Twitter and Twitch room down below, and I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on everything as we dive on into it. So as I'm sure you guys probably have seen or heard a lot, when it comes to Stellar Blade, there is a big thing out there when it comes to, for whatever funny enough reason, on the outfits for the character itself. Now, there is a lot of things. I'm going to show you guys a few of the outfits, so if you guys care about spoilers on those regards, that is, hopefully not the biggest deal, but I'm going to show you guys just some of them over here from, an outfit guide. Now, there is a lot, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of different outfits, a little on various levels of degree for the character. Now, I'm going to show you guys them right this second. So you guys can see some of them are cool outfits, and some of them are more of the latex side. Sometimes it just kind of depends on the character. Some are more just casual. I think this looks aesthetically very nice. If I saw a woman wearing this one, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. And all of, like I said, of all various other outside degrees, depending on what you unlock, how you do it, what stats you want, all that type of stuff. And this is, I believe, actually one of the outfits right here, you guys can see on the screen itself, that was actually pretty bigly changed. Now, most of these are still curvaceous or whatever, what do you want to go and explain it, showing skin, whatever. But at the end of the day, some of the outfits did get downscaled a lot. And now people are kind of calling this out, because the idea behind Stellar Blade was it was meant to be a fun game, basically no restrictions, waifu hunting game, no big changes. And so far, it has seemed like there has been a lot of last minute changes and kind of censoring when regards to the outfits and everything else in the game. Now, there are a few things that they did go and change. We made a video on this before, discussing the fact that PlayStation did go and have various wordage that they wanted to go replace out there. There was really inadvertent, potentially racist. Then they had to go and pop on it with a hard R, and also into a store, and the same thing. We made a video on that yesterday if you guys want to see that drama. So some of that stuff being censored and changed out, in my honest opinion, makes sense. I'm understandable of that one, that makes sense. But the outfits are where people started drawing the line. Now, we've been seeing this in there's a hashtag free Stellar Blade, and many people are now kind of noticing this and calling this out, where they're saying, hey, they're even begging, hey, hashtag free Stellar Blade, please revert these outfits at PlayStation. Why is this okay in Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, and The Last of Us, but for some odd reason not in Stellar Blade? And this actually had a lot of good overall feedback. We've seen a lot of feedback everywhere, with lots of posts with a similar mindset of basically being hey man, here is what's going on. And yeah, people are concerned about this. Don't even forget about the initial thing where people are mad that this character was unattainable beauty realistics, when it was actually based on a real life person. And for some odd reason, this game is getting so much negative attention, and I'm not really sure why, because there's this cool gamer girls and cool gamer outfits. Now, is this a little bit obsessive for a game? I guess, but it's part of the charm. And I do think a lot of the charm it's been kind of marketed to, that's a big deal, I think, for a lot of these folks, because this is it's meant to be the audience of people who just don't care and want to have waifus in their game. And the fact that they changed this and nerfed it is kind of nuts. So a good example, let me try to highlight this, which is, I feel the biggest version known to man. But basically, if you guys look at the unpatched version itself, it's a little bit more scantily, it's a little bit more mid-boob cleavage versus like, like anything else underneath it. So like this is like basically the only outfit, and then they added like, a brassiere up on top. And they also have some of the other variants too as well that have been adjusted. So they did kind of tone it down. They censored it quite a decent bit. Now it is a still out there outfit, and like if you compare this to other games, but it really did go from like, let's say a PG like, like 16 to like a PG like 13, type vibe. And people are obviously upset about this because people are like, why are we doing this? Some people are saying this is why like indie devs, you can even see down below, indie devs and small studios are the best because they don't have this like either big partnership contract they have to worry about with Sony, or as well they're kind of allowing more stuff to happen in the game overall. And this is also what we had to go and say for the director, because the director actually did have a response that came out only a few days ago, and it's also kind of made a lot of people upset. Basically saying, is there any thinking of rolling back to the version before the censorships? This was kind of coming to light, and they noticed that things got like changed up a lot. I also wanted to ask you, they said, understandably, we also recognize about this issue. However, the final costume that we wanted to show you is indeed the costume in version 1.00.2, which is what I showed you guys over there. I want to clarify that this is our final product. However, I know this answer is not enough to convince our user. There is an internal discussion ongoing regarding this, basically what we're talking about right now, where people are upset about this. So I think we'll have a chance to answer it soon. And this is actually from over from Shift Up itself, which is kind of addressing the controversy of what's going on with Stellar Blade. And now I do think, in my mind, I do think PlayStation and Sony probably did have some say in this. I'm gonna be honest, mainly because we did see Sony go and have to deal with that weird, like, storefront graffiti hard R thing that popped up. So obviously someone at PlayStation's like, hey. Like, this is a really bad media attention. We really want to make sure this is, like, being taken care of. What else? Like, let's go do, like, a quick, like, glance through on the weekend and make sure, like, hey, change this, change this, change this. And I think that's probably what happened for some of these outfits. They're probably like, hey, this is just a little bit too much, especially for characters moving around your screen and everything else. Maybe go and just tone it down just a little bit. Like, don't change it too much, but like a little bit. And I think this is where it happened. This is basically like, hey, we have a publishing deal and working with PlayStation. We want to maintain our PlayStation rights. This will probably have a lot of sales on PlayStation. It is a PlayStation exclusive with nothing on Xbox. We kind of have to go and bend over for PlayStation itself. And that's why I think people are upset, because they did try to do like a big marketing push, try to go maintain that they're going to keep these like cool outfits and good looking outfits for these characters. And that's, I think, like just the audience they were trying to go and build. And that's kind of like even funny things too, because some people, also even saying too as well, other outfits have also been toned down when it comes to the characters too. So there is a lot, like there is a lot of things that actually have been changed where it's not the biggest, craziest change. Like you're still seeing some thigh or shoulders or whatever, but it has been toned down. Like I can actually easily glance at this and be like, yes, there is like, extra layers of clothing and coverage on the characters. And I'm not one of those people where it's the biggest deal. Like I said, like I'm going to play the game. I care more about the gameplay. I don't care about the waifus. I'm not like one of those diehard people who are like, the waifus aren't there, I'm not going to play the game. What is this garbage? But I can see why people are maybe feeling like they were mismarketed to. That Shift Up didn't really kind of maintain the standards. And there's been like a lot of discourse between us for this game these past few months where people are upset about it. People complain about it. People are over the place with it. So it's just an intriguing thing to see that some of these issues are ongoing. And I do think PlayStation did do a lot of it. Understandably so, though, because if you're getting bad negative media attention, you do want to change things up. You do want to work on it. And at the same time, this has been an ongoing issue. So I could probably see them being like, for the past 3 months before pre-launch, we've been seeing this. Maybe tone it down like a little bit just to make our life easier. Like I could see PlayStation being like, we don't want to see more negative PR, bad emails, IGN articles, or whatever it might be. Like, can we just make it chill? Can we just relax for once? And I can maybe see it shift up, being like, yeah, you've been a good business partner, we'll do it. Because these aren't the biggest changes. So I kind of want to know your thoughts, because some people are even kind of saying like, hey, this is like a boycott. Some people are saying this change is very unnecessary. Some people are happy they got the physical copy because you don't have to worry about any downloads. You can enjoy the game how they're meant to be on the 1.0 version rather than the 1.002 version. Some people are upset about this too as well, that like all these big media companies always have to tone things down when in theory it's not a big deal. And the more we're kind of like used to this type of content being shown, I think it normalizes it even more, which means it's less of a dramatic call out. Because I'm kind of surprised on how much attention this game got in the first place and how much negative it was, because it seemed like just a fun waifu beater game, like just like a Dark Souls type style game with waifus. So I'm not really sure why there was so much problems with it. But I kind of think a lot of people are overreacting. on both ends. Like, if they had to change it up a little bit from Sony, I don't like that from Sony, but I get it. And at the same time, I do kind of hope in the future we don't have to have these game companies meddling too hard for things they don't have to. So we have the Twitter and Twitch room down below if you guys want to follow. I appreciate you guys all very much for watching in the first place. Thank you guys for existing, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for more videos.